Hey everybody, this is Beelit, and this is a beginner's guide to fighting games. In this first topic, we're going to talk about mix-ups. Now, I'm not going to go super in-depth into mix-ups here, but the purpose of this is to try to introduce newer players to the concepts and the ideas behind fighting games. So I'm going to be using Injustice in order to teach these different ideas, but the things that I talk about are universal in fighting games. So you don't have to worry about this being Injustice specific. The terms and concepts that I'm going to discuss are present throughout fighting games. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is a mix-up. What exactly is a mix-up? Well, it's actually an action that you perform in order to try to land an attack on your opponent. Now, there are 4 basic ways that you land an attack on your opponent. An overhead attack, which must be blocked while standing. A low attack, which must be blocked while crouching, and of course you cannot crouch and stand at the same time, thus you are forced to block one of these options. 3, the throw, and 4, the cross-up. So overhead, low, pretty easy to understand. We're going to use Batman here, and the attack that I'm going to show, the first part of the attack is a mid attack, which means you can actually block it while standing or block it while crouching. But the second part of the attack is an overhead, and you must block an overhead attack while standing up. So I'm going to show you what happens if you're crouching and you try to block. He cannot block. An overhead attack is something that must be blocked by standing up. If you're crouching and you're blocking, it doesn't matter. The overhead part of the attack is going to hit you. You can't stop that unless you stand up and block. Now, we also have the low, which works in the opposite way. If you're standing up, you cannot block a low. You have to be crouching. So we see here he's blocking anything that isn't a low. But when I go low, he cannot block. You must crouch. So the overhead low mix-up is very powerful because you cannot block both options at the same time. This, in some cases, leads to unblockable setups, but we're not going to be talking about that. The third option that I talked about was the throw mix-up. A throw is unblockable. You cannot block it while standing, and you cannot block it while crouching. In some games, you can actually crouch and the throw will miss, but if the throw were to actually be able to touch a crouching opponent, they would not be able to block it. The only way to stop a throw is to tech it, or to break it. Teching a throw and breaking a throw are the exact same thing, so don't get all twisted up and think, oh no, this is something I haven't heard yet. It is. Teching and breaking a throw, they're the exact same thing. You do them the exact same ways, so try not to get too confused there. In order to tech or break a throw, you must perform the throw input within a certain time limit. If you don't perform the input in that certain time limit, then you'll get hit by the throw. Now, throws are more or less prevalent based off of what game that you play. In the Street Fighter series, they're very common, but in a game like Injustice, not as common. It really just depends on what game you play. So to demonstrate the fact that throws cannot be blocked, we're going to set the opponent to always blocking. So these should block whatever we do. Alright, cool. So you can see that no attack that I do will hit the opponent, but a throw does. You cannot block a throw, but you can tech a throw, you can break it. Teching a throw is one of those things that takes a lot of experience to start understanding. First, you have to be able to do it within the time frame, which the time frame varies depending on what game you're playing. There's no set time for throw teching, but it really requires an understanding of the game and an understanding of your opponent, what they want to do, when they want to do it, when they're willing to put that throw on the table. It's something that comes with time, but you should at least understand at a beginning level that throws do happen. They are an option, and so you should really try to at least acknowledge their existence. Don't worry if you're not teching every single throw that happens. Even professional players don't tech every single throw that happens. So don't worry, do your best, but try not to get too upset if you're not teching throws. So in order to understand cross-ups, we have to understand how we normally block. If the opponent is on the right side of the screen, normally we hold the left direction for our blocks. But if the opponent is on the left side of the screen, we hold right. What we're doing is holding the direction opposite of our opponent. But what happens if we're holding a direction and our opponent goes to the other side? Well, let's imagine that Joker is holding right. He's moving away from me. But I hit him on the other side. What happens? Well, the only way to block an attack is to hold the opposite direction of your opponent, which means a cross-up forces the opponent to switch their blocking side, or else they will get hit. A cross-up is one of the things that beginner players struggle with the most. Sometimes they'll understand the overhead low mix-up, but normally they always get hit with cross-ups. It's one of the big things to focus on when you're first starting with fighting games, but again, you don't want to get upset if you keep getting hit by cross-ups. It happens. You need experience. It's part of getting into fighting games. But it's important to understand what's happening. In order to block a cross-up, you have to switch the side that you're blocking when your opponent switches the side that they're on. That's all that a cross-up is. Sometimes you'll hear the term ambiguous cross-up. Ambiguous is exactly what you think it is. It's not some fighting game exclusive term. Ambiguous just means hard to judge. An ambiguous cross-up would then mean something where it's hard to judge which side your opponent is going to be on, which side they're on. Sometimes things are harder to judge than others. Like that, he might have easily guessed that he wasn't going to cross up, but he did. Sometimes it's really hard to judge cross-ups, and that's another reason why a lot of players have trouble with them. And you know what? Even pro players do too. It's still a viable option at all levels of the game. So I hope you understand a little bit more about mix-ups. Of course, this is just something brief, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to address them in the future. I hope you like this kind of video, I hope you like this series, and if you do, I would greatly appreciate it if you would support the videos. You can do that by leaving a like, favoriting the video, sharing it with someone that you think might enjoy it, and you can also subscribe to the channel if you would like to follow my content. I thank you guys for watching, I hope I helped. See you guys next time.